It hurts, obviously, but that's sports. I see it as a challenge, and honestly, I love the tough ones. If you had told me this years ago, I would have absolutely lost it. Honestly, tell me that a few years back, and my head would have just, exploded. Those were Alex Eala's words after an intense week in early April 2026, grinding on the indoor clay of Mallorca with Toni Nadal, a 20-year-old from the Philippines, a master of the red dirt, and only weeks until Roland Garros. This isn't just practice, it's a loud statement. Everything that went down from Mallorca to Stuttgart is why everyone's suddenly linking Eala's name to Arina Sabalenka. Just a bit ago, most people were still talking about her hard-court run. That's what put her on the map. Then she headed back to the Rafa Nadal Academy for a total clay overhaul movement, sliding and finding that rhythm on the dirt with Toni Nadal by her side. This wasn't some PR stunt for the cameras. It was surgical prep for Madrid, Rome, and the ultimate test waiting in Paris. By mid-April, that hard work started paying off on the scoreboard. But let's keep the story straight here. There isn't a single verified clip of Arina Sabalenka venting about Eala Toni Nadal or this new clay game. No press blow-ups, no spicy tweets. Yet the internet is flooded with reaction videos claiming the world number one is shook. The real drama runs deeper than a clickbait headline. Clay is brutal. It judges your footwork and tests your soul. Power isn't enough. You need recovery. Now Eala is soaking up the secrets from the very culture that built the greatest clay court dynasty in tennis history. Look, Sabalenka earned that number one ranking. No one is debating that. But that's why this matters so much. Eala isn't chasing a ghost or a vacant throne. She's sharpening her weapons for the surface that makes legends right, while the biggest names in the sport are standing in her way. Mallorca in early April was the first real proof. Eala was under Toni's watchful eye, and the word coming out of those sessions was clear. The focus movement sliding and mastering that red dirt. This wasn't a coaching takeover, though. Toni is more like a surgical consultant. It's mentorship at the highest level. The kind of advice that fixes a player's surface game without messing with their DNA. Eala took those lessons straight to the court. April 7th in Linz, she crushed her clay opener against Julia Grabher 6-4, 6-3. Clean, controlled, a straight-set statement. Jelena Ostapenko managed to escape later, but only after a dogfight. Eala made her work for every single point, and the world noticed. That's how real growth looks. It's not always a trophy on day one. It's the visible shift in play before the winds catch up. Imagine standing across from her. You already know she can flip your power right back at you from the baseline. But now her sliding is tighter. Her spacing is perfect, and she's hanging in those long clay rallies for 2 or 3 extra balls. That's not just for show. Against the elite, those extra balls are exactly where matches are won or lost. Linz proved this wasn't some random experiment from a kid looking for a miracle. Miami showed Eala belongs on the big stage. Mallorca showed she's brave enough to take her game apart and rebuild it anyway. Then Linz revealed the master plan. Don't just survive on the dirt, become a nightmare to play there. That's why the Sabalenka noise is so loud. A million thumbnails are selling a feud that doesn't exist. People aren't reacting to a quote. They're reacting to what this represents. When a rising 20-year-old gets the Nadal cheat codes before Roland Garros, the internet naturally looks for the biggest target, because the top of the tour is the only standard Eala cares about now. Even without a Sabalenka quote, the vibe is obvious. The world number one is the old guard, the established power. Eala is the next wave. She's showing up with tools that are way sharper than anyone expected on a surface built on pedigree. That's why there's so much buzz, even without a real feud. Then came the human moment that flipped the script. Eala didn't talk about Toni Nadal like he was just some hired gun. She was genuinely glowing about the whole thing. She said it was fantastic and felt truly privileged to have him on her side. She couldn't stop saying how blessed the team was. He's got that deep knowledge, obviously. He's really been able to elevate my whole team, just an incredible experience. And then she dropped the line that made this feel like more than just a training story. She said if you'd told her this years ago, her mind would have been absolutely blown. She said she would have completely lost it. Never would have believed you. That's not a player just checking boxes. That's the sound of a dream becoming a reality. The fans who saw something special in Eala before the rankings dipped or the clay losses, they weren't crazy. They saw the potential before the rest of the tennis world had the guts to say it out loud. Greg Rusetsky's take carries weight here because he's someone the sport has actually listened to for decades. He's a former top 10 star, a veteran in the broadcast booth, and an expert on how court surfaces rewrite careers. Regarding Eala's time at the academy, Rosetsky noted she finally knows how to handle the dirt. Good luck trying to blast a winner past her now. That is a massive statement. He's not selling hype, he's spotting a tactical evolution. If opponents can't hit through Alex on clay, the points get longer, the pressure flips, and favorites start losing control of the match. This is exactly how the most dangerous players on red clay are forged. It's not about overpowering people. It's about refusing to break when everyone expects you to fold. The upcoming schedule turns this theory into a high-stakes reality. Madrid is next. Rome follows. Then Roland Garros looms in late May. That is the one stage where clay skills are a requirement, not a bonus. Alex isn't entering this stretch as just a hardcourt specialist anymore. She's coming in with Nadal's blueprints, fresh match experience, and a game that actually travels. That changes everything for her season. For too long, Asian stars were pigeonholed into fast court first strike tennis. Eala is currently shattering that glass ceiling. For fans in the Philippines and across Southeast Asia, who've waited for a real clay court threat to cheer for, this isn't just a marketing campaign. It's technical growth with real substance. We are seeing a legitimate evolution. By the time the Paris brackets are set, no seeded player will want Alex in their path. If that Mallorca training keeps paying off through Rome, a deep run in Paris becomes a real conversation. A possibility with actual teeth. Even so, the recent scoreboards serve as a blunt reminder that the job isn't finished. On April 14th in Stuttgart, Leylah Fernandez beat Alex 6-1, 6-4. That was her second straight early exit on the dirt. That result matters. It cuts right through the fantasy and brings us back to earth. Toni Nadal doesn't have a magic wand, and clay court instincts don't just happen in a week. But what happens next is what counts. There's no injury, no backing down, and no escaping the surface. The swing continues, meaning she's heading right back into the fire in Madrid. This is how real growth happens in the pros. It's never a clean straight line to the top, but a messy process under the bright lights. Indoor clay in Mallorca, an opening win in Linz, a dogfight with Ostapenko, and then that tough reality check against Fernandez in Stuttgart. And then there's that one quote: she would have thought you were crazy if you told her this years ago. That's the story. A 20-year-old Filipina is walking into the biggest month of her life with the man who helped build the King of Clay's entire career. The rest of the tour is on notice, whether they like it or not. So the big question remains, with Toni Nadal sharpening her instincts. Does Alex Eala make her big move in Madrid? Or is she saving the real shocker for Paris? If you saw the potential in those Mallorca sessions before the headlines caught on, this is the place for you. Subscribe and join the fans who see the shift before the bracket reflects it. This story is no longer theory, it's happening right now.